Two big downsides for ditching the Apple Watch Ultra in favor of the Series 10. Having this more rugged Apple Watch design was sort of like Apple Care in my mind. But actually, I'm more than willing to make the trade. When the original Apple Watch Ultra came out, I was drawn to it for all the non-obvious reasons.
But what's interesting is I don't fit into either of those categories. I wouldn't classify myself as an adventurer or as someone who wants to be seen as an adventurer, and yet I still pre-ordered an Apple Watch Ultra. So let me lay it out there for you like this. I'm not at all interested in things like precision dual frequency GPS, the ability to operate at -20°C, the exclusive Wayfinder watch face, although it is pretty cool, the super crazy extra special bands made for specific adventures, the water resistance that works up to 100 meters, the IP6X dust resistance, the 86 decibel siren, the depth gauge, running form efficiency info, a super accurate compass, or a full-featured dive computer, etc., etc., etc.
I wasn't a rock climber. I wasn't someone who was swimming with the sharks on the weekends. I just wanted a more rugged design that had a bigger display and a much better battery that also didn't look like every other Apple Watch on the market. Basically, I just wanted a differentiated Apple Watch that would get me through my everyday adventures with some extra bonuses. Now, there is a new black colored Ultra out, which admittedly does look great, but I've been spending some time with the new Series 10, and I'm realizing that something's changed. What I thought was important with the Ultra is either on the Series 10 now, or actually doesn't matter to me as much as I thought it would. 20 seconds before we get into this, let me ask you a quick question. Is your career on track to get disrupted by AI? How can you best position yourself for success as labor begins to be automated away? My brand new AI and I course pre-sale bundle is gonna help you future-proof your career. It's $450 worth of course material for just $99 for a very limited time. So be smart like Mark, Hugo, and Matthew here and get it before that price goes up by hitting the link in the description. So let's just start from first principles here. Why do I need an Apple Watch in the first place? Well, I create and receive reminders on here all the time. I use it for messaging, for glancing at my inbox. I use it to listen to podcasts, music, audiobooks with my AirPods. Also use it all the time to set timers. I use it for notes with Bear Notes now. Of course, I'm using this nice sleek design, we're gonna talk about this, for sleep tracking, for health monitoring. I used to never use the flashlight. I use the flashlight now from time to time. I even use it for when I need to order an emergency pizza with just a tap. So you'll notice from my list there that none of that requires an Ultra to accomplish. And there's also so many Ultra features that I never make use of. Like, I thought I would love it, but I never take advantage of the action button. It sounded cool, but I literally just forgot about it on the day-to-day basis. Dual frequency GPS? No. Compass? No. Swimming or diving? No. You know, one of the big things for me was having this bigger screen, the bigger tap targets. That's one of the reasons I wanted the Ultra. Well, now that I got the big screen over on the 10 as well, that's not a factor anymore. Now I have those big tap targets for pushing the little buttons, entering codes, typing and stuff over on the 10. And interestingly enough, I don't know that I would ever need a bigger screen. Like, this is the sweet spot for me. I don't need the screen to get any bigger, the bezels to shrink anymore in the future. If they do, okay, then I'll test it out. But I'm set with this screen size along with its lighter tech footprint. That matters to me more than it used to. If I'm gonna lay there doing sleep tracking, then I want the least bulky thing I can have on my wrist. Now, I did do sleep tracking with the Ultra. It wasn't the best experience in the world because it's ultra big, it's chunky. So just have something that's physically lighter, physically thinner, that I notice less on my wrist, frankly. It matters not just when I'm sleeping, it matters in several scenarios. You know, like I'm in this mood where I want this light tech footprint where I'll go out, ditch the phone, and I stay connected, but in a very minimal way to notifications, email, phone if I need it. Just bring the AirPods and the Apple Watch. And so to have something that's lighter, it just feels like the go-to move here. That's very satisfying. So what I'm trying to say is I actually prefer it. I prefer it. And I didn't think that I would care anyways, but this is better. For me anyways, it does make a difference in a good way. I think a lot of people buy the Ultra because of what they think it says about them rather than the actual utility. I can see this when I go to the Apple events, but Apple really got me here. They got me on the color for once. Usually I just kind of chuckle when Apple comes out with new colorways and doesn't add like a bunch of new features. But this jet black is a little different for me this year. The math worked out for me because I wanted a differentiated Apple Watch. And instead of differentiating with the design, the body style, I'm differentiating with the color. It's funny, that usually doesn't really get me before, the colors for the iPhones, for iPads and stuff. But the math worked out in this case. One of the big trade-offs here that you would think would make a huge difference, one of the things that I used to be excited about, was the extra battery life that you get on the Ultra, up to 36 hours of regular use versus only 18. I gotta tell you though, with the fast charging where you can get 80% battery in 30 minutes over on the 10, I realize I'm basically good to go, and I'll tell you why. Because I would get into trouble with the battery thinking that the Ultra would last me longer than it actually would end up lasting me. So I wouldn't charge it normally. I had no charging schedule. It would just be like, oh, I'm low again at an awkward time again, and just go have to charge it anyways. What I'm trying to articulate is that either the battery life needs to jump to like a week in between charges, or it just anything in between is gonna have me charging every day anyways. So in my day-to-day living, that actually hasn't felt like a big downgrade, if that makes sense. The thing that I am feeling, and again, I'm not feeling it yet, but I'm feeling it like existentially a little bit, is the rugged nature of the design. I miss the ruggedness already because it's like a mental thing. Having this more rugged Apple Watch design was sort of like Apple Care in my mind. I know people are sick of hearing about it, but on Apple Watches past, I banged my old Apple Watch, the regular design, into a treadmill, got all scratched up, screen would get dinged, dented, scratched. And having the Ultra felt like peace of mind. It was like, I know I can be tough on this, rough with it, and it's gonna be okay in my everyday adventures. And now I don't have that over on the regular. Oh, look, I love this watch face. I'm gonna talk more about it in a second, but I just gotta catch it while it's on the top of the hour here because it looks awesome. In fact, let's just wait for it here so that it actually catches. It's ticking down. I just love the way this looks, stylistic, but also very usable. Here we go. And it's even gonna be on the always on display here. Turn, there we go. There's a bit of a mental tax now where I have to be more careful with the watch, like I used to have to be. And for me, this is the big downside for not going with the Ultra. It's not all the extra bells and whistles. I just wish that Apple would make a tougher version of the normal Apple Watch, and I'd be pretty satisfied. On a side note, I am enjoying this new Flux watch face here. That's what it's called. I got the green going on. It looks great with the black and white if you're doing jet black as well. But what I love about it is I used to want Apple to give me a million complications. They got a little close with some of the watch faces like Modular Ultra here or the Infograph face. But something like Flux, which visually looks very interesting, changes all throughout the day. You have these animations, which are great. Paired with the Smart Stack, the widgets, is all I ever needed, actually. It's very easy to come in and add widgets, pin widgets. So on top of Siri just automatically switching them out whenever it makes the most sense, which it actually does a very good job of. This is like the Siri watch face from back in the day, but fixed, but better. What you always wished it would be, then it's the best of both worlds. I get the art, I get something that's fun to look at that changes throughout the day. You never know how it's gonna look when you see it, and the functionality. So long story short, I'm all in on the Series 10 right now, and I'm doing weird things with it that I never used to do. Usually I would go in, just like when I set up a new iPhone and turn off all the beeps, you know, like the keyboard sounds and stuff. I usually do that with the Apple Watch. Like, I don't wanna be getting dinged and notified. I kinda wanted a stealthier approach. If other people are around, I don't need them, you know, checking out the Apple Watch or whatever. But this time I just left all the default settings on, you know, like when the reminders go off, it dings. You know, at the top of the hour, I turned on a little chime so that I know, and it's like I'm more aware of time as it passes throughout the day. I don't know, I'm just really, really liking the Apple Watch experience now, and I feel like this new design, the thin, the light, the bigger screen, it's working for me. I really like it. So I just want to tell you a little bit about my experience. I also want to make sure that you don't miss out on the courses. That pre-sale offer, that price is not going to last forever. There's some extra bonuses if you go check it out, even on top of that for extra value. So check it out. It's linked up down below. Give me your thoughts on the Apple Watch. What are you using and why? Does the Ultra still appeal even if you're just kind of an everyday adventure? Or are you going to stick with something that maybe has less battery life? How does the battery life work out for you? I do want to know that, because for me, it's like until it's a week, it's just not going to make a big difference. Give me all your thoughts. Let's have a good discussion. Check out the wallpapers too, and I'll catch you in the next video. Later.